Well, hello. Welcome back to Unposed. We're on episode 3, which is so exciting. If you haven't already watched episode 1 and 2, I would love for you to go back and start from the beginning. This podcast is really a journey, and every single episode is going to give you a step that you can take to learn more about yourself, to show up for yourself, to fall more in love, and live your life with confidence. I wanted to take just a minute to talk about episode 2, what happens when women decide what's true. I asked on Instagram, have you heard these things in your mind coming through and you're like, wait a second, I have always believed that and I'm realizing it's not true, and you're untangling and rearranging these thoughts in your head. So I asked on Instagram, what are you hearing? What are you realizing that you're believing that is not true? I had one of my past clients reach out to me, and she works in an industry that is mostly men. And she said, I'm realizing that I'm hearing over and over that I don't belong here, even though I've had very important people tell me I'm exactly where I need to be. So why am I doubting myself? Another babe reached out to me on Instagram, and she said that I feel like I have to do it all and I have to get an A every time. Do we have any performative perfectionists out there where at the end of the day, if it's not all done, if you didn't do it by yourself or you didn't do it perfectly, you feel like you failed? And it's not true. So I just want to remind you, go back, listen to episode 1 and 2. There are great little nuggets and questions that I would love for you to be walking through and having conversation with your friends. We're already doing such great work, and I'm so excited to dive into episode 3. What happens when women trust themselves? This is a big one, and I think we go over a lot of the points in the interview, but let me go ahead and ask you some questions on the front end of this that you can be thinking through as you listen to the interview, because I think it's important to already kind of have in your mind, what am I going to learn today? What am I going to discover about myself? Where am I going to push myself, and what can change so that, again, I can start to show up for myself and fall in love and live my life with confidence? You guys are going to hear me say that over and over and over. Do you trust yourself? Do you find yourself second guessing your decisions? Or maybe think about the people that you do trust. How did they get into that position in your life? And can you use those same steps to start to trust yourself? I think back to when we moved to Colorado, and that decision was huge. I will say I was making that decision with my husband, with my family. It wasn't all on me, right? But we're moving our kids to a totally different state, new schools, no family in town. This is a huge decision. There was so much doubt. It was a constant are we doing the right thing? But we always went back to the reason we're making this decision is still bigger than our doubts and our fears. So take another step forward. Take another step forward. And again, I was doing that with my husband by my side. We were making this decision together. And then as we settled and I started to build my business here in Colorado, there were more decisions to be made, and I had to trust myself. I knew what my passion was as a photographer. I knew what I wanted to do, but I was kind of is that just Adina being a dreamer? Maybe this won't work out. And really, I think that the order of these episodes works out so well because I can think back and go, okay, episode 1, what happens when women feel safe? Did I feel safe enough with some people to be able to run these decisions by them, with my husband, with my best friend, with my mom, and go, I think I want to do this, and I think this could work, and hear their feedback? Did I have spaces that I felt safe enough that I could share and feel supported? And then episode 2, what happens when women decide what's true? There were lies swirling in my head that were saying I wasn't good enough to do it, whether it was photography skills or starting a business from scratch, or I'll never find clients. How am I going to do this? And untangling those lies from what could actually be true was so important. But in it all, I had to trust myself. I had to know that this passion and the road that I wanted to go down, no matter what ended up happening in the middle, in the end, I knew that these were the steps that I wanted to take. I sat with those thoughts for a little bit, just when else have I really had to trust myself? And I think that move and restarting my business here in a different direction than it had been before were 2 really obvious ones. But really, I find myself wanting to sit and think about that even more, because I think it's important that we recognize the moments that we do trust ourselves and that it worked out, that's a great way for our trust to just grow. Nobody tells you when you become a parent that you are eventually going to have to teach your children to drive. Talk about trusting yourself. It's like, I'm going to get in this car with my kid, and hopefully they're listening, because at this point in their life, they pick and choose what they listen to, right? And I'm hoping that my words guide them correctly. This is literally about their physical safety and the people around them and my car. So trusting yourself to teach a kid to drive. I never thought that that would like blow my mind like it did. Trusting myself to start this podcast. Is this weird like fever dream of like, I'm going to have a podcast and hopefully it touches some women's lives? Am I crazy? Maybe. But I'm going to trust myself and I'm going to go with it. And actually, I have to tell you, even as I'm starting episode 3, every time I hit record on this podcast by myself, I get so nervous. When I'm here with someone and we're interviewing, we just have so much fun. I don't get nervous, but when I hit record by myself, I get so nervous. And every single time I have to push through it because, again, the reason that I'm doing this is bigger than my fears and my doubts. And so I'm showing up again. And I have to say thank you to those of you who reached out to me and said, like, my sister's been listening to this and it is changing the way she's looking at herself. Or I listened to episode 2 yesterday and I can't believe that I've had this lie swirling around in my head. Thank you so much for reaching out and letting me know. Those moments that I really am like, what am I doing? You guys always help push me through. So for now, let's continue into episode 3, What Happens When Women Trust Themselves. Let me introduce you to my friend, Rebecca. Here we go. I'm so excited for this. When we met, did I tell you that I thought I was thinking about starting a podcast? At the very end, like when you
did,
came to
yes.
pick up products, I think, maybe.
I think when we were done shooting, you were like, I'm thinking about doing this.
Yeah.
And then we had a really good chat about like, yeah, go do it.
And right away you jumped in and you were like, this is what I would say about that. And in my head, I was like, Rebecca on the podcast.
We're doing it.
So here we are, episode 3. Okay, will you do me a favor and
Yes.
just introduce yourself? Tell me and the listeners as much or as little as you want. Like, just kind of like who you are. Give us a little background before we like dive into the good stuff.
What we're doing.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. So I'm Rebecca Lucidi. I am a Colorado native, which I feel like is less and less common these
Brag
days.
about it.
I grew up in Littleton. I'm the youngest of 8 children in my family. We're a blended family, so we're like the Brady Bunch, which I think made my life very interesting for sure. Yeah, grew up in Colorado. I met my husband here in Colorado and we got married. He's a New Yorker and we moved to New York and we lived there for 6 years. And then we had our son Roman, but really didn't want to live in a city trying to raise a child and all the pressure of being a New York City working woman, and knew that I wanted to be around family to raise him. And my husband and I felt very similar. And so we decided, okay, we should go back to Colorado. I think that's probably the safer bet. So we moved back to Colorado before he was a year old, a month before he was a year old. And the timing couldn't have been like more perfect to come home. My mom and dad live here and I have siblings that still live here. And so it was important that we were around family and like just having a slower paced environment. My mom passed away the same year that we moved home. But my mom got like the best time with Roman before she passed away. She watched him 3 times a week for me while I was working and like would hang out at my house and, did all the things. So it was hard in the moment, but like I'm very glad that we moved home when we did.
Yeah.
For that time.
And you didn't know that when you moved home?
No.
Or you did? Okay.
No, she wasn't sick when we moved home. And yeah, the rest is history, right? Like, and then we've been here ever since. He's now 11. From like a work perspective, from like a resume perspective, I'm a creative director and get to work from home, which is such a huge affordance. Like being a mom and having the flexibility and the freedom to have my own work-life balance and still have my career, I think especially after being a woman who worked in ad agencies in New York City and like the hustle and the bustle of that
Totally
life
different.
is very different. And I'm like eternally grateful for
Yeah.
like the things that affords me. Yeah. I will never work in an office ever again. Never.
Like, not happening.
Not happening.
You'll go to Costco and work there before you work in an office.
1,000,000%. Yes.
Sample
yes,
lady.
yes, I will.
Okay, so 11-year-old boy.
Yeah.
I mean, have boy moms told you enough? Like, hold on tight. It happens fast from here, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
He's such a smart kid. Like just in the way that he processes information, he's very, very smart. Families are fascinating to me, and that Roman only spent like a year and 8 months with my mom, but there are so many like innate traits about him that are the same as what my mom was.
Oh,
And
that's
so
cool.
it's a very beautiful thing to watch him be like super empathetic and very listening and intuitive and very observant about how other people are feeling and like adjusts his kind of tone to how other people are feeling. He's an incredible little boy.
That's cool.
I know for sure that like, I don't know, in maybe 2 years, he's going to be like, you're weird. You're really weird.
He will, but that's okay. He'll still love you.
Yeah,
Like,
which is fine.
like every now and then you just get because he'll have to lean down on you soon and,
He'll do one of these.
Yeah.
Like, can I just have a hug?
Yeah.
Don't touch me. Thanks.
That's my son right now. Don't touch me. But he still loves me.
Yeah, of
So
course.
it's good. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anything else you want to add? What do you do for fun?
I have been an avid kickboxer and Muay Thai person since we moved home.
Cool.
So that's my outlet. I
Yeah.
will say that like I was just looking for a way to get fit was the main goal. But it's become my therapy.
Yeah.
In that I don't have to say anything to anybody and I go and work it out on my own, like whatever my frustrations are, my sadness, my whatever. So that's a big part of my like life of something that I do for fun. I ride horses as well and just love that disconnect of I have to be fully in the moment.
Yeah.
To be with such an incredible beast and to put my trust in that and like trust myself and that, yep, I know what I'm doing and just go for it. So those are the things that I do for fun.
Oh, I love it. Okay, let's talk about Be You Beautifully.
Okay.
Because that's where we met. Be You Beautifully, for those of you who don't know, is a women's empowerment event that Heather Baker has thrown. I think she's done 3
or 4.
3 or 4. They're beautiful.
Yes.
It is such a cool thing to be in a room full of women who are there investing in themselves.
Yes.
And even though I know that some people show up maybe just to support her or somebody else bought them a ticket, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They chose to be there and like they are taking the time to soak something in just for themselves, which women do not do enough. So
100%.
Right away, I have to say bravo to anyone who's been to one of those events and to Heather for throwing them. Like they're just so cool and so beautiful. But that's where we met. Every year I've given away a boudoir shoot. And how many have you been to?
I've only been to 1.
Just the one. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first time, because I've given away shoots at things before and they kind of just fall flat if it's not the right audience. So I had told her, hey, if I'm going to give away a shoot, I want them to sign up for it.
Yeah.
Because I hate saying, hey, you can have a shoot. And then that person wins and they're like, no, thanks.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, well, I wish somebody would have won that wanted it. So the very first year I was on stage, I was doing some just journaling stuff and then everything. And I had explained what to do. And I wanted them to come and bring the paper to me.
Yeah.
And it had their name and information on it. And that year, I really was just like, you just have to bring it to me. And in my mind, I was like, I want to look them in the eye.
Yeah.
So that they understand that this is not scary.
Yeah. I'm not scary. I'm not a scary person.
It's okay. And so that's all I did the first year was had them bring it to me. And I did ask some people some questions like, why do you want to do this? Or have you ever done anything like this before? But just kind of very basic. And I remember I walked off the stage and they dismissed for, I don't know, lunch or a break or whatever. And I was walking back to my table and I literally felt people behind me. And I was like, and I turned around and they were... There was a group of people following me to give me their papers.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, oh, hi. And I was like, okay, people do want this.
Okay.
So it was very exciting.
Yeah.
And then every year since then, I've kind of morphed the way that I do it. But every year you have to sign up for it.
Yeah.
Because I want the person who wins to want to do it.
Yeah.
Do you remember what I made you do?
It was the same.
Did I ask you a question?
I don't think that you did.
Okay. So the year before that, I asked when they handed it to me, I made them say to me, what do you love about your body?
Oh, no, you did do that. No, you did do that. I
Okay.
remember.
And I
And
feel
now
like-
I remember what I said too.
Tell me.
I said I like my legs. Like I like
Yes.
my calves.
I remember you were like, okay, yeah. And
Yeah.
you were able to just give me an answer. And it's kind of wild, the emotions that came with that, because I threw people off, which is mean, right? Like, I think one year I actually had them write it on the back.
Okay.
So they wrote down their name and then they had to like flip it over and write what they loved. And that gave them a second, which probably
about.
scared people away from giving it to me, because I think that was a slower year for me. So the next year I was just like, just bring it to me. And then when she came out to me, I asked, what do you love about your body?
Yeah.
And the amount of emotions I got, like I got some people who were just like, they could give it to me right away. Some people would pause and they would have a friend with them. And I'm like, what do you love about her body? Because I'm like, stop.
Yeah.
Like
Why
you're
are you-
overthinking everything.
Yeah.
Like listen to your friend, take this compliment.
Yeah.
And then I had some people who literally like emotion, tears. And they're like, I'm sorry. I didn't realize this would make me emotional. And it's just this really crazy moment of being in touch with yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or realizing like having somebody ask such a direct question of what is it that you love about yourself? And then the moment of panic of like, I don't. That direct of a question, but it's also such a simple one. Yeah. I mean, I can see why that would send some people into like an absolute tailspin.
Yeah. Which I actually asked that question at my planning meetings for like the Blush and Tease experience anyways. And most women hate that question. But usually I can start to like pull some stuff out.
Yeah.
And it's like the goal is to make that list longer.
Right.
Because we need to be living on ourselves. But yes, so that's the story of the shoot giveaway. And I have given away multiple of them. And then the day that you came in for your shoot, I told you were the first person that took me up on it. And you're like, what?
I'm like, no, you're giving this away though. Like,
and they wanted it enough to come and talk to me.
Right. That's the thing.
I did
that's
have
crazy.
people who would bring me like their friend's paper and I'm like, no.
You
You
go
just
give it back.
The year before, one lady at Be Beautifully filled out 2. She took her friends because she wasn't going to do it. She filled out 2, handed them to me. And I was like, you bad girl. And I took one out. She won. And she still didn't shoot with me. So whatever. So the why, right, is I don't know. They're scared. There's a million reasons. But why did you shoot with me? Like, I was like, what made you do it? Because no one else has done it. What made you do it?
Why not?
This is my favorite thing.
But like, why not? Especially since becoming a mom and I've been with my husband for a very long time. And I've had my own set of things that I don't like. And, you go through these phases with your own body of like, well, that's not what it used to look like. And I want to get back to what it used to look like then. Or, a million things, right? I'm not comfortable in my own skin. And when I stop and think about it, I'm like, but why though?
Yeah.
Why? This is the body that I have. I do my best to be healthy. I do the things that, are good for me, not just my body's health, but like my own mental health. And why do I feel bad in my own skin? Like, this is the skin that I have. This is the body that I have. I need to be happy with it.
Well, and it's worth celebrating.
Right.
That's all there is to it. Like,
Like
it is worth celebrating.
Right.
This, sack of skin that carries us around
this
in
vessel.
such a beautiful life.
Right. And I think the notion of, oh, I'm not going to have pictures taken of myself because I don't like the way that I look. I understand. Like, I understand that. But this is the body that you have.
Yeah.
And you should be able to celebrate what you look like. And you should feel good about the body that you're in, regardless of what state it is in.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like even if you're doubting it, that's part of what I do.
Right.
Right. Is show you how I see you.
100%.
How the people who love you see you. So it's kind of just this perspective shift.
Yes.
So like, even if you're sitting there thinking, I don't like the way that I look.
Right.
Just give me a chance.
Right.
Let me show you.
Yeah. And like, love it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, why not?
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this why not. This is what I loved so much when you told me, because that you have like adopted that whatever comes your way, you pretty much do it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
give me some like examples of that.
Well, this one was one of them
Yep.
of like, yeah, I put my name in, but I had no expectation that I was going to win. And then when I did, it was like, all right, well, fuck it. Why not?
Yeah. Yep.
Why not? I won it. Okay, then I'm going to say yes. So I think a lot of it is just that notion of just say yes. Why
Yeah.
not? The job that I work at right now, it fell in my lap, and it's not something that I would normally have gone for. Like I
Mhm.
work for an online psychic company, right? And the opportunity came to me and fell in my lap. And is it something that I would normally do? Is this a place that I would normally work at? No. But why not?
Yeah.
I've worked there for almost 4 years and I love it.
Yeah.
Some other things that I have like adopted in my life is people asking me to go do things, right? Or go places or be part of something different. And sure, there are insecurities that pop up from time to time and like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough for that. Or, I don't know if that's really something. At the end of the day, why not?
Yeah.
What's the worst that's going to happen? Okay, maybe
It's
it
my
doesn't go
favorite
well.
thing.
Okay. And did you get something out of it? Yes, of course I did.
Yeah.
Does that mean that I have to do it again? No, that doesn't mean that I have to do it again. But am I going to learn something in the process? Yes, of course. Why not?
That's so cool. And coming from somebody who is very stay in my lane,
Sure.
follow the path that's already been there. That to me is like so inspiring. I'd have to line up the days of when I met you and if this had already happened. But when I turned 40, I told myself I wanted to do 40 things that I had never done before.
I love that.
And I was like, oh, this is scary. Like 40 is a big number.
I mean, it seems like a lot.
It seems like a lot, but I got married when I was 19.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things I've never done by myself.
Yeah.
So even like I stayed at a hotel by myself and I had never done that. And I never realized it. And I was like talking to myself. I was like, this is weird, but it's something I had never done and I learned from it, know? So that year, 40 brand new things, it pushed me to like learn more about versions of myself that I could be.
Sure.
Or things that I really just still don't like, but I tried it. You know
but
what I mean?
did it. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Now I know for sure I don't like it.
That's exactly right. Can you think of anything that you said yes to that you had an expectation going into it? Like, okay, I'm going to say yes to this. This is how it's going to be. But then it ended up being like, whoa, that was not at all what I thought it was going to be.
I always had this inkling that if I'm going to do really well in my career, I need to not live in Denver, right? Like I work in ad agency. That was where I started my career. And I knew that if I was going to have great success, I was going to have to move to a big city. And when I met my husband and found out that he was a New Yorker, I was like, okay, well, maybe that would be something that we would do down the line. We got married in August, and my husband had a job offer to go to New York in January. So we had only been married for like less than 6 months. And I really liked my job. I liked the place that I worked here in Colorado. And I was like, nope, I want to stay here. Like, I need to be here a little longer. And so we made the decision that he was going to go to New York and I was going to stay here. And we were newly married. Now, we had been together for 3.5 years before that, but like we were newly married. And he went to New York and tried to find an apartment. And I traveled a couple of times to go see apartments, and it just didn't feel like it was right. And June rolled around and I was still living here and he was in New York. And I finally bit the bullet and I was like, why? Either I'm doing this now and we're going to stay married and I'm going to come to New York. I don't have a job in New York. I have a job here that I love, but I'm married to you and we are living across the country from one another and we're newlyweds and I'm living in my parents' basement.
Yeah.
Which is no. Like I love my parents,
Yes.
but like I'm a grown woman, I'm married, I'm living in my parents' basement.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Like you start really adding all these things up and you're like, what's happening? What are we doing? Yeah.
What are we doing? And that was another moment where I was like, okay, I'm going to have to take a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
So I sold the rest of our stuff. I packed up my clothes and my dog. And my mom jumped in the car with me and we drove from here to New York. And that was that.
Yeah.
And it was very much another why not moment. Like, why am I sitting here? Why am I staying in this place of what feels like comfort? Right? Air quote comfort. When it's just keeping me someplace that, like, this is not my purpose. This is not what I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
I don't think. Like, I don't think this is what I'm meant to do. I need to be somewhere else. Why not?
Right.
Why not?
Yeah.
If you choose not to, then what happens? But if you choose to, then what happens? And sometimes you don't know what those answers
That's exactly
are,
right. Yeah. You don't know.
but you have to pick.
Yeah.
And just make a decision and move forward.
And you can think the worst. You can think the best. You can have all these expectations, but you
Yeah.
literally, and I was just telling my kids that the other day, like the little decisions you make, the big decisions you make, they shape your life.
Yeah. Every
And
one of them.
as scary as they may seem, or as mundane as they may seem,
Mhm.
it creates something beautiful. So to
Yeah.
walk into it with confidence, whether you're not really sure,
Sure.
but you can be confident, which is exactly what this episode is about, trusting yourself.
Yeah.
And knowing that even if it doesn't turn out like I thought, or even if it turns out horribly, that doesn't mean that what I did was not the right thing.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to trust yourself.
Yes.
Would you say that you're somebody who you trust yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think especially we as women, I think we underestimate our decision making.
Yeah.
Or we second guess the choices that we make. And I don't know if that's a society thing. I don't know
Right.
if that's what's been told to us, is that we make decisions in a too emotional way or whatever. But I also don't regret anything in life. And I think that can also be something really hard for people to hear. You are going to make decisions in your life that, to your point, are good or not.
Right.
And either way, either decision that you make, if you shift your perspective, instead of it being like, oh, I regret doing that. Well, I don't regret doing it because clearly there was something I needed to learn from whatever that decision was.
Right.
And that path is there for a reason. That maybe that bad decision or mistake or whatever then taught me something else that's so important that I'm going to use later down the line.
Yeah.
And I don't know that now, but when that situation arises, then I can make a different choice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, there are bad choices, right? Like we all make bad decisions,
Yes.
especially when we're young.
No,
And
I'm
like,
so glad you said that because I was getting ready to say, well, and maybe we reframe it like it's not a bad choice. It was just a bad outcome. But you are right. There are bad choices.
right, like there's bad choices that we make. Like,
Sure.
you know,
Yes.
but I think that all of those things kind of shape our life and shape our story and
Yeah.
and make us who we are meant to be, or teach us the things that we're supposed to then take later on or pass down to other generations. So I don't think that I have a different perspective and that I don't regret anything in life, even the choices that were bad or even the things that were hard or the adversity that I've had to live through or whatever that is. It's gotten me to the place where I am today.
Yeah. Well, I think in order to trust yourself, you have to kind of adopt that.
Yeah.
Because if not, which we'll talk about this in a second, it's like this whole self-compassion versus self-judgment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of like, oh, why did I do it like that? It's like, oh man, that was really hard.
Yeah.
But like, you're not, yeah, which we'll talk about in a second. I'm going to get right into that one.
Oh,
'cause
we're
that
getting
one-
there.
We're getting there. Would you say that you've always trusted yourself?
No, not always. I have had some like really horrific relationships in my life, whether it's friends or romantic relationships with really awful boys that I should have not stayed with as long as I did. And in those moments where there was like a pinnacle thing that happened in all of them of, man, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And is this healthy? And no, it's not healthy. And why am I here? And so in those moments, looking back at what happened to lead up to that like epiphany moment, it did give me some self-doubt of like, why did you make those like why did you make the decision to stay? Like why are you sitting in this?
Yeah.
But then I think making the decision to sever the relationship or to say, I'm not doing this anymore, and walking away, every single time that I made that choice for myself, I added to the roster or like added to my toolkit, if you want to call it
Yeah.
that, of like, these are the things that you need to watch out for moving forward. And every time I chose myself, I was teaching myself that I could trust me.
It's just like anything in life. This is something that we have to learn how to do,
Yeah.
and I don't think that, I mean, out of all the things that we're doing every episode, it's not something that comes naturally.
Yeah.
And even if it has come naturally for you some in your life, there's going to be a moment that you have to,
Yeah.
fight that back. Like episode 1 is what happens when women feel safe. And like that's the most important thing, is to start there, because if
Yeah.
you don't feel safe, then how are you ever going to move on to the second?
Right.
And then 2, we did what happens when women decide what's true. So instead of just believing the lies that are coming in, or
Mhm.
being told you're the way that you're treated and you're coming up with these things, you say, no, that's not true.
Yeah. This narrative. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then to move into this one, to learn to trust yourself,
Yeah.
is just like these little pieces of, it's just one step.
Yeah.
But in that moment, listen to yourself
Yeah.
and trust her,
Yeah. Trust her.
and especially once you've done the work of not believing the lies, right? Because
Yeah.
if you still have all these lies moving around in your head, don't trust her yet.
Yeah. She needs work still.
She's not ready.
She needs a girlfriend to tell her,
That's
hey girl,
exactly right.
what are you saying in there? You should probably cut that out.
Exactly. I always like to look at how we trust other people, right? Like if people are like, I want to love myself more. Well, how do you love other people? So you have to kind of pull back and go, if we're talking about other people, how does someone gain our trust? They show up over and over. They don't lie. There's just so many things. And again, you're trusting them a little bit at a time. Somebody
Yeah.
new comes into your life. I mean, I'm like, they're amazing.
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I love my friends who are like, Adina,
No.
why are we trusting them right off the bat?
Yeah.
We
Like-
don't trust, and then they earn trust. I'm like,
Right.
what? They're great people. No, Adina, don't do that.
Yeah, you don't know their full story. And sometimes I think even to that point of like, we all are wired a little differently in that
Mhm.
way. Like for me specifically, and my husband and my son would laugh uncontrollably at this, but like, no, you really got to earn it. And my friendship is great, but you have to earn it.
Mhm.
And that is from experiences in the past, right? And listening to the girl on the inside who's like, yeah, they may seem like a great person, but there are some things that they do. Are you watching? And it's a lot of watching and listening, and how do they treat other people, and how do they interact with other people, and are they more interested in themselves, or are they more interested in hearing more about you or the other people around you? I trust myself.
Yeah.
Because I've done the hard work to trust myself. And so this like blanket, which is so different from you, I'm sorry, but like this,
No, please.
this
Let's talk
like
about it. Yeah.
blanket approval
Right.
of just, oh, you seem like a great person, and then the blanket approval to just let them in is almost like a disruption of my own peace, right?
Yeah.
Like I've done the hard work to trust myself and have peace. And so in order to let somebody in, I have to make sure that I feel like you're not going to disrupt my peace.
Yeah.
And I have to be able to trust you as much as I trust myself. And if I don't trust you, then I'm only going to let you in so far.
Right.
And then you're going to have to prove it the rest of the way to get all the way in.
Yeah.
And that sounds really narcissistic, but it's not.
No.
Like it's not
No,
intended
you know what
to
it
be.
is you, because you've done the work, you value your trust.
Yeah.
Don't just throw it around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Trust is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So when you really value it, then you protect it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it makes it more valuable when it's given.
Yeah, for sure. Where it's just like, oh, Adina trusts everybody. Then like you're like, yeah, that's everybody, including me. Where it's like, Rebecca trusts me. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like it's a very different thing. Okay, so what about when trust is broken? And I think this is something to think. We can go with someone who broke our trust and like hurt us, and then turn that into, we also do that to ourselves, and we
Yeah.
have to work through it. Like trust is broken. How do they gain it back?
That was a hard road.
Yeah.
For sure. And actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
you can say you're sorry and that's okay. And I can forgive you, but that doesn't mean that you get the same level of trust back ever again.
Right.
And I think that may be one of the things that is really hard to learn, allowing their actions to speak for themselves. And then you protect yourself accordingly.
Yeah.
With, do I feel like their actions reflect the words that they said of I'm sorry and I can let them back in a little bit more?
Yeah.
Or do I need to trust myself and know, you've burned me too many times? And that doesn't mean I hate you. It doesn't mean any of those things, right? Like I don't have to be mean or nasty or vindictive or any of those other things, but that also doesn't mean I have to let you back in again.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. The boundaries of like knowing yourself and trusting yourself, you're doing that for you. And that is only going to make you trust yourself more.
Right.
When you're like, oh, this scenario could have went very different, but I didn't allow her back in. And this feels really great.
Yeah. And it feels so much calmer.
Yeah.
And
calm is a great word.
And then you're like, you're not second guessing what's going on in here either.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you don't need to, you can let it go.
Yeah. If you have never learned to trust yourself, or if you have broken your own trust, right? Like you're now looking back and going, I'm not in a place where I trust my voice anymore. I was just trying to think of a list of things that you can start to work on that will help you get back to that place or get to a place. Like I said, some people have never trusted themselves. They've always trusted the outside voices more than their own. And I was even just thinking small little things like keeping promises. When we moved here, it was a rough transition. We were like, we have to go to Colorado. We love it so much. We've got to get out of Henderson. And we moved here with little kids. Like Jack wasn't even in preschool yet. And Avery was in second grade, I think. And she had a cat that was her person,
Yeah.
And when we moved here, we literally had one choice for a rental. Rentals were going so fast.
Yeah.
And no cats. And it was like, this is not going to go good. I'm moving my daughter to another state.
Yeah.
She's starting in a new school. At the same time, Travis didn't have work here yet. It was coming, but he had to go to Portland and work.
Okay.
So now we're moving here.
Yeah.
No dad, no cat, no family.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah, this is a lot.
I was like, we almost were like, we can't do that to her. And then we were like, this is our only choice. And so we were like, Avery, what we're going to do, the cat's going to go live with grandma and grandpa.
Perfect.
For 1 year while we're in this rental. And then we will find another one.
Yeah.
Literally willing to move again because of a cat, which I love the cats. But I was like, moving is hard.
Yeah, moving is hard.
And so I was like, maybe she'll forget about it. Like in my brain, I'm like, what's going to happen? Of course not. And so.
Yeah, of course she's not going to forget about the cat. Come on, Adina.
We get here and I'm watching just this whole thing. And I'm like, if there is one thing that I will do, I will keep this promise to my daughter.
Yeah.
And so we got pretty close with the landlord. And like every month I'd be like, have you thought about maybe letting this cat? And sure enough, it was like, maybe 6 months, maybe not, maybe 4 months. And he was finally like, okay, like give me a pet deposit and I'm like, it's one cat. Like we have 2 big dogs. You're like, come on.
Oh,
and
that's even weirder. Like we have 2 gigantic dogs that the chances of them ruining the house are higher than the cat.
The children. I have 2 children, 2 dogs. The cat is not.
That's the least of your worries, sir.
So I remember the day that we got to tell her, like, grandma and grandpa are coming to visit and they're bringing Hank. And she was, and it was like one of those moments that it's like, I hope we do that for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, Rebecca, I promise you by this time next year, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I promise you that I'll give you a day off. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
So keeping promises, I think, is huge.
Yeah.
Setting boundaries and sticking with them, which is almost keeping a promise. Let's be honest. You have to learn your boundaries.
Yeah. They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And I think boundaries can become a promise, but like, listen, when you're trying to figure out and trying to retrust yourself again, those boundaries got to be real hard.
Right.
And they do not move.
Yeah.
At some point down the line, maybe they can flex or bend a little bit person to person. But while you're trying to relearn who you can trust and who you can't, and especially trusting yourself, that boundary doesn't move. That's a brick wall.
Yep. I remember when I started going to therapy a few years ago, I was learning so much. And I remember like my kids like being like, Mom's acting different. And I'm like, I am going to act different. And it may feel like a total like flip of a switch right now, but we'll work through it because I got to go hard this way.
Yeah.
Because if I play in the middle, I'm not going to learn this.
Right. And it's not going to be healthy.
And it's going to take way longer.
Yeah.
way longer. Oh, so yes, setting boundaries. Also, I wrote down listening to ourselves.
Mm.
And in that, some people, when you're starting, do you even know your own voice?
No, most of the time you don't.
Yeah.
Because it's so wishy-washy. It's so muddled with other people or other things. If you've got all that swirling, then no, you're not going to know, is that me? And even sometimes, which version of that is me? Is that scared me? Is that
That's a great,
upset me? Is that confident me? Is that
yeah.
the person who, like, my own version of me that loves me? You're not exactly sure. And so I think within that too, like, you have to really know which voice is coming through at what point.
Yeah. I know I had a friend ask me for advice the other day and she's like, what do I do, Adina? And I'm like, what do you need? Because you could do 3 different things in the scenario. They're all great choices.
Right.
But you need to come back to what you need. Do you know what you need?
Mm-hmm.
And when I did those unravel sessions, it was like a different interview than Blush and Tease because it was more connected to your heart
Yeah.
and challenging women to figure out, when do you hear yourself?
Yeah.
And some people literally, like, they don't know how. And I started with, like, when you wash your hands, I want you to ignore everything else around you. It's how long are you supposed to wash your hands? 30 seconds?
30
60
seconds.
I don't remember. But, like, there's a moment where, like, there's water hitting your hand. No one needs to be worried about you. It's 30 seconds. Listen to yourself for a second.
Yeah. Well,
You know what I mean?
Hear in there?
Like, what do you hear? Or maybe it's in the shower. And I'm weird like that because I feel like water does that. So there's
Yeah.
like this connection to, like, shh,
Yeah.
what are you saying?
Yeah. What do you hear?
What do you need?
Yeah.
So getting to know her voice
Yeah.
is really important so that you can actually listen to what you need
Mm-hmm.
to create a boundary,
Yes.
to fulfill a promise.
Correct. To move forward.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes we throw all these words around, setting boundaries and da da da. And it's like, oh, how do I set a boundary? Well, first you have to listen to yourself.
Yeah. And sometimes you won't even know what that boundary is that you need to set until you're presented with something that makes you uncomfortable. And that may be a boundary that you
Yeah.
have to set.
That's where you go, why, Rebecca? Why do you feel uncomfortable right now?
Yeah.
Like, listen.
Do I feel uncomfortable because I think I'm in danger, or am I uncomfortable because sometimes you need to be pushed outside of your comfort zone, which is different than a hard boundary, right?
Yes.
Which I think this whole experience and doing Blush and Tease and all of that is like, yeah, it's going to push you outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And that's intentional. And that's
Yes.
probably healthy for you.
Yeah.
Actually, not probably. It is healthy for you.
You learn so much about yourself when you do that.
Yeah. And to be comfortable with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I wrote down was treating yourself like a friend, which we started to talk about earlier, because there are going to be moments that we break a promise.
Yeah.
Or that we let that boundary slide.
Yeah.
Or that we say mean things to ourselves in our heads. So no matter what, like, you're practicing this. It's something that you're putting into practice. It doesn't just fall into place and all of a sudden you wake up
Right.
and you're like, I keep all my promises to myself.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. You're a liar.
And that's bad.
Yes. You're just chipping away at this to learn your own trust.
Yeah.
And in the end, if a friend came to you and they're like, this is what happened, you would be like, don't be so hard on yourself.
1,000,000%.
And we have to hear that own voice in our head that's like, wow, I suck. I screwed this up. And it's like, no, calm down. You made a choice. This was the outcome. It's not the best. But what would you say to your best friend if she was saying that to you? You
Yeah.
would never let her talk about
No.
herself in that way, you know?
You would say, okay, yeah, all right, that didn't go great.
Yeah.
How are we going to move forward?
Yes.
What would you do differently next time?
And you still just have to pick yourself up and
Yeah.
do the next thing to
Yep.
continue to trust yourself.
Yeah.
Which sucks. This is hard work.
It's hard work. I agree.
It's worth it,
It's worth it.
but it's really hard. What would you say to that version of yourself that didn't know how to trust yourself?
I think I'd probably use a quote from my mom, and it may not be as linear, but the quote that my mom used to say to me was, nobody can make you feel anything without your permission. And every single time I feel like I am struggling in a situation or struggling to trust a decision I've made, or literally anything,
Yeah.
nobody can make me feel anything without my permission. And that includes me.
Yeah.
That includes me. And I think is one of the biggest things that I go back to
Yeah.
of understanding my own self-trust and how I trust other people of like, you did this thing. I feel hurt. Okay, what am I going to do with that? I'm allowed to be hurt. Yes.
Yeah.
But do I have to sit in the hurt forever? No.
Right.
No, I don't. And either I can address it with that person if I feel like they're trusted, or I take that information and I move forward and I let go
Yeah.
of it. I think that seems very like, I think it's kind of an abstract thing
No.
or an abstract quote, but it really is something that I apply every day.
Yeah.
In my work instances, my interactions with my friends, my my interactions with my husband and my son, or my interactions with my grumpy old dad, or, whatever. I pull all of that through, and then it helps me realize that I can trust my own feelings and
Mhm.
trust myself.
Yeah.
In that, okay, I'm allowed to feel this way, but I don't have to stay here forever. And
Yeah.
I'm either going to address it or I'm going to let it go. And if I let it go, then I'm not allowing that person to make me feel that way anymore. And I'm trusting that I'm making the right choice.
Yeah. When I think with relationships, there's an obvious moment where like there has to be either a conversation or they have to be held accountable or
Mm-hmm.
you have to tell them your expectations because they didn't live up to them or
Right.
whatever. But how often does that happen in our own self? And we either just like brush it under the rug or again, we just get pissed at ourselves and
Right.
whatever. And we have to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And so, no, I think that's beautiful. I think it's one of those things that kind of like goes over all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what pushes you to take the next step. That quote is not something that just makes you feel better.
No,
It's something that actually makes everything harder.
it does. It makes
Right?
everything harder. And there are so many times that I say it and I'm like, I'm not
Can I
answer-
have an easier quote?
I'm not going to answer that one right now, Mom. Thanks. I'll answer that one in a couple of days. I'll
That's
phone a
funny.
friend on that one, Mom. Thanks for that.
Yeah. But to turn it back to yourself too. And I think that's, I mean, what I really want to do in this podcast series is teach you practical ways to dive into it.
Yeah.
Or, dip a toe in.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all we're doing is dipping a toe in. But sometimes you do feel like you have to dive in. You're like, where do I start?
Yeah.
And it's those little things. It's those moments that you connect with yourself and go, why am I feeling this way? And
Yeah.
what do I want to do with it? Instead of, I feel this way and I'm going to spiral in it or I'm going to ignore it and avoid it,
At some point, you can't avoid everything, though.
Yeah.
And I would venture a guess that, like, that's not how you want to live your life.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And what a beautiful life you can live.
Yeah.
If you just, like, walk through it.
Yeah.
The hard things in life you're going to have to walk through. You can't set them over there and hope that they go away because they're not going away.
Right.
It will follow you wherever you go. You're going to have to walk through it.
Yeah.
And you'll be better on the other side.
And to be able to trust yourself with every single step when it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's like it's like having your own back, right?
Yeah.
Like, and some people have never felt that.
Yeah.
Like it's important. And I feel like that's what all of these lead to is just this moment of like, this is something that I haven't prioritized. And yet this is where my life could be if I did prioritize it.
Yeah.
And you're worth it. And it's hard work.
Also, why not?
Yes. Like, seriously.
Why not?
Yeah. And it changes everything. It's these little things that just change everything.
Yeah.
Ugh, I love it. I hope you enjoyed your time with my friend Rebecca. She is just incredible. One of my favorite things about the interviews is I can prepare all of these questions. I can know what order I want to ask them in, and I cannot control the conversation. It just ends up going in places that I would have never imagined. And honestly, I learned so much from that conversation with Rebecca. We're different when it comes to how we trust other people. And I walked away from that realizing that there is a way that I can be protecting my trust, which makes me trust myself even more. Before I end this episode with some questions, you know me, I'm going to give you a song recommendation. Every single time. I think it's so important to listen to lyrics and just hear what they have to say to you. So let me introduce you to a song called Daydream by Lily Miola. I have loved this song for so long. She has a couple other songs that I have always loved, and I didn't even know who she was. And my friend Anastasia and I and my daughter Avery, we decided to go see Wild Rivers in Boulder. We listened to them some. We love some of their music. So we were like, it would be fun. We just love live music, right? So I think it was the day of the concert. I was like, I wonder who's opening for them. And I pulled it up because usually the openers are like a nice little surprise to us. Like the song that I already made you listen to in episode 2, Caitlin Tarver. We didn't know Caitlin Tarver until we went to a Johnny Swim concert. So it's just always fun because the artists that we love end up introducing us to people who we also fall in love with. And so I was like, who's the opener? And I opened it up, and this is the first song that played on her Spotify. And I'm like, I love her. I was so excited. I probably would have bought those tickets just to go see her. So I was so pumped to see her open. Anyways, this is one of my favorite songs by her. Let me read a couple of the lyrics to you, but please, please, please go look this up. Daydream by Lily Miola. She says, daydream. It's your life that you're making. It ain't big enough if it doesn't scare the hell out of you. If it makes you nervous, it's probably worth it. Why save it for sleep when you can be living your daydream? And then towards the end of the song, she says, so scared of failure that we fail to try, turning around before the finish line. Gotta fall for a minute before you can fly. I freaking love it. Okay. Let me give you some questions that I would love for you to journal through or, open a notes app on your phone and just kind of go, this is the question, and start thinking through it. Have conversations with your friends. Be like, I'm listening to this podcast and these are some she asked me and I would love to chat through them with you. Obviously, this episode is all about trusting yourself. And I asked you at the beginning, do you trust yourself? But some more specific questions that I can ask you that point you in this direction would be, where in your life are you waiting for permission that you don't actually need? Like, is there something that you've been wanting to dive into and you're like, I need someone else to tell me to do it before I can do it? Or someone to tell me yes before I take the next step? Where in your life are you waiting for permission that you don't actually need? What is something that you've been overthinking that your gut already answered? I actually don't even feel like I need to explain that one, but I will say it one more time. What is something that you've been overthinking that your gut already answered? When is the last time you trusted yourself and it worked out? This is something I'm definitely going to challenge myself to this week, to make a longer list of times that I've trusted myself and it's worked out. This week, I want to challenge you to step into Rebecca's why not mindset. I know it may freak you out, but look for opportunities to say yes to things that you may normally just say no to or avoid, or maybe speak up in moments that you would normally be quiet. So between these challenges and these questions, I would love to hear feedback from you. I can see comments on Spotify. I can see comments on YouTube and obviously on Instagram. Like I said, go follow along on Instagram. Just search Unpose with Adina. I would love to have you there. I try to do some follow-up like stories and stuff throughout the 2 weeks in between episodes just to keep these things on your mind. But I would love to hear some feedback from you. Which question really stands out to you? Did you get some good answers? How did you step into the why not mindset this week? What did you do that you're kind of like, I just said, why not? And let me end just with one final thought. Trust isn't something that we just wake up with. It is built in small moments. When you listen, when you act, when you follow through. And sure, maybe trust doesn't start in full confidence. Maybe it's in this quiet, why not? The more that you trust yourself, the more you allow yourself to be seen. And that's where everything changes. And it's worth it. Thank you guys for joining me for episode 3. I'm going to say it like I always do. Please comment, like, and subscribe so that this gets to more women. I'll see you in a couple weeks.